David?
Yes. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Why don't you please have a seat?
Here's a copy of my resume for you for the interview.
Excellent, thank you. Well, welcome to Freighter Hospital. I'm Jacob Schilling, and obviously as you're coming forward, we're hiring an athletic trainer for the Sports Medicine Center, which is directly associated with Freighter Hospital. This is going to be a full-time position. We have 10 to 15 minutes for this interview, and I thought we could start with finding out about what led you to be interested in the position, and then we can talk about your background by going through some of your past experiences. I'll then let you know what we're looking for in this role and where we want to be headed as an organization. Towards the end, we can talk about what's going to happen next. Do you have any questions about this process?
Not right away.
Okay, excellent. Well, I'm going to start off. What led you to apply for this position?
I was working at a Wheaton Franciscan, and a professor of mine from UWM recommended that I take a look at Freighter in Medical College of Wisconsin. They had an opening position, and that it was an organization that he really felt strongly about. So I thought, if he feels as strongly about this organization and he's someone I respect, then I should give it a try, see what opportunities I can find.
Excellent, excellent. Do you have any strengths you'd like to bring up?
I'd like to first highlight my people skills. I know, having worked with all kinds of different people in my past, that there's different things that make people motivated, there's things that people don't like to hear, that you have to recognize that and how you can get the best out of it. And another thing I'd like to highlight is my work ethic. I pride myself on not being outworked in my life, and that's something that I will carry on with me for the rest of my life.
Excellent, excellent. We never like to talk to him, but is there any weaknesses?
A weakness that I recognized in my life was that I used to let the little things bother me, but then I realized there's not much you can do about those things, and dwelling on them doesn't do you any good, so you have to move on and recognize they happen, but after that, move on.
Great, great. How are you unique?
Where my unique experiences come in is that I have worked in high school environments on both the sideline and as an athletic trainer. I know what coaches want out of their athletic trainer. I know what parents expect. I know what kids want. But where my perspective comes in, I know what I have to do, and I have to balance what I'm trained to do, the things I've learned, with how other people would like me to perform.
Awesome. Next, I'd like to touch on your prior experiences, and I see, as you just told me from your resume, that you used to work at Wheaton Franciscan Healthcare. What were your main duties at Wheaton?
There, I worked at a few local high schools in my time. I moved around a little bit just because of the way we were structured.
Okay.
And I would, other than that, I would work clinical hours at our hospital. And there, I would work with rehabilitation, with athletes, or just other people in there for rehabbing their injuries.
Okay. What were you trying to achieve there?
Wheaton Franciscan was my first job as a athletic trainer out of college. So it was an exciting thing for me, and I wanted that to be my stepping stone for my career. I wanted to make contacts there, network, and be able to really advance.
So you got your start.
Yeah.
Okay. Who are some of the people that you're involved with there at Wheaton?
Wheaton, obviously the patients there, the athletes, the people in for rehabilitation. But outside of them, I worked with the orthopedic surgeons, I worked with the physical therapists, learning every day from them, different techniques, different new technologies in the field every day.
Okay. I'd like to talk about some of the challenges you had working with those people, those patients, and how did you approach or deal with those challenges?
Well, working with patients can be a little difficult at times because you know what you're expecting out of them, but sometimes they just need that little push.
Yeah.
And then working with the doctors, it's different because you're learning from them constantly. They know what you want to know, and you're trying to gain that knowledge and be able to apply the things they're saying, not just knowing them and just keeping it up in your mind. You have to be able to apply it too.
Okay. Did you have any major victories there at Wheaton?
One major victory I thought was I was behind instituting Saturday clinical days for after Friday night football games. Saturday mornings from 7 to noon, people come in the night after their games and get x-rays, things like that. I tried to make sure there was enough staff there to handle the workload for that.
Okay, excellent. Um, so this is interesting. What do you think your previous boss would have to say about your performance?
My previous boss, I feel like he would say that I was a leader there.
Excellent.
Spearheading programs to get out into the community and to really make prevention our biggest goal. To prevent injury is the biggest thing you can do.
Okay. So, what other job or experience has been significant in your prior profession?
I would definitely have to say my time as a football coach at Whitefish Bay Dominican High School.
Okay.
That's where I gained a lot of perspective there about athletic training.
Okay, so you can tell me a little bit about that. So significant.
I had to become much more of a leader. If you're working with kids like that, if they don't respect you, they're not going to do what you want them to do. And things like having to work with kids who you have to find what their motivation is. A lot of 15-year-old kids, they don't really care.
Yeah.
Things like that. And you have to figure out what gets them going and what you can do to make them better at all times.
Okay. You will be working with clients in order to help rehab their injuries. In doing so, you'll be working under direct supervision of some of our physical therapists. Are you comfortable working in a situation like this?
Yes, as the offensive coordinator there, I worked under the head coach at all times, and I was kind of his bouncing off for his ideas, and that even though if I knew I had an idea in a game situation or a practice situation, that I would have to bounce it off him first and see what he would say about it. And as time went on, as I got more comfortable with him, he got more comfortable with me. I wouldn't have to check in with him on things. He would know that he can trust me to do what I think is right, and what I think is right will probably work.
Okay, so that's a positive supervisor you dealt with. How exactly did the positive relationship with that coach develop?
It took time because I was still learning the game, the little intricacies that you don't understand unless you do it for so long.
Yes.
And he was there to teach me that. He took it upon himself to make sure that I was prepared, to make sure that the team was prepared, and to make sure that I was doing everything I could to make the team work.
Okay, excellent. Another one we don't like to talk about, did you or your coach or former boss ever disagree on something?
There can be a lot of disagreements when tensions are high, the pressure's on. You have to, even though you disagree, you have to make a decision one way or the other, and you have to move on. You can't let disagreements affect the future. You have to acknowledge that they're going to happen, and you have to make a decision.
Awesome. So you guys obviously had success in problem solving.
Yeah.
With those disagreements, can you elaborate on that at all?
In my time at Wheaton Franciscan, there was things like scheduling issues, things like that, things where there was people maybe even on the staff who had different opinions, and we had to get together, fix the problems, and not let the problems get larger.
Okay.
And as far as working in football, every single play is a problem, and you have to recognize that what you can do to fix it. You have to understand what other people are doing and what you can do to stop it, or what you can do to beat it.
Okay. Now I'd like to talk about, as a personal trainer, you'll be dealing with multiple different people every day. And can you tell me of a time you successfully dealt with many different people?
In my times at Wheaton Franciscan, those clinical mornings, you get people from all over. Every school has their differences. Every school's athletic trainer could be a little different the way they do things. Mm-hmm. I had to help them adapt to the way that I was taught to do things, the way I did them, to make sure they were comfortable.
Yes.
As well as in my time coaching, every one of those 40 kids is a little bit different. So I have to know them enough to see what makes them click, see how I can motivate them.
Adapt to each player.
Yeah.
So as a member of the team, you'll also be participating in varied department activities designed to enhance patient care. How can you make a contribution to this company?
This company, I feel, could be greatly affected by my motivation, my knowledge, my perspective from parents and athletes about how we do things, and maybe the things that we might be doing things wrong, the things that parents and athletes can tell us about the way we're doing our job. It can be very valuable, and I can bring that perspective.
Okay. What is the #1 achievement of your career?
I feel my #1 achievement is getting those clinical hours in place.
Okay.
That was a big thing that I thought, because the times when I learned from coaching that we would have guys get hurt on Friday, and we wouldn't be able to hear anything until Monday afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
And that time, it was Saturday, Sunday, were just wasted times.
Yeah.
We don't really know what's going on. We have to wait till a doctor can say anything. And getting those clinical hours in place allowed everyone to have a streamlined opportunity to figure out what's going on with these athletes and what we can do to get them back on the field.
Okay. Good achievement. I'd like to talk about our organization's core values. And basically the biggest selling point for our organization is our core values. And an example of that is we want an employee to be continuously learning, always striving for excellence, and to have integrity. And when an employee has this tends to equal employees that tend to be good people who like their work and are very good at it. Do you think you could fit into an organization like this? And how do your core values compare to ours?
Absolutely, I feel like it can fit in. I feel if I'm not learning, I'm losing. If there's someone else out there who's gaining the knowledge that I don't have, and then they're going to be ahead of me.
Okay.
And I really feel that my experiences are fit for this company. My experiences have helped me learn over the years, my education, and has helped me gain perspective as well.
Okay. Well, why should we hire you for this position?
Well, I feel you should hire me because I bring both the education and the background, as well as those unique perspectives that I've been talking about. I feel knowing how parents want me to work, how the athletes want me to work, and I've learned to be able to balance those three things of how I know that I have the training, but their perspectives can help me gain a lot of insight into what maybe I'm doing wrong, and I'm willing to acknowledge the things that I do wrong in order to get better.
Okay. Very good. Well, finally, do you have any concerns about this position, and do you have any questions for me?
I do have a question about, if hired, what are my opportunities for advancement?
Okay, I mean, basically, at here, you put your time in, and there's going to be reviews every 6 months that if you perform well enough, that you always have a possibility for advancement.
Okay, I'm excited to hear about that.
Yeah, definitely. Would you like to talk next steps here? We'll be conducting interviews for this position over the next few days, and
Okay.
it's a great interview. We'll give you a call within the next 2 weeks if you're the right person for this opportunity. So thank you for
Excellent.
applying. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
Giving me your time and everything.
Thank you very much.
David, have a great day.
You too.